Hello and welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Theodore Henry. The summer break is around the corner and we have some ideas on how you may engage your kids in fun activities while encouraging them to embrace their uniqueness. Which reminds me, it's International Albinism Awareness Day. Now, what is that? Well, albinism refers to a group of genetic conditions marked by little or no pigment melanin in the skin, hair, and/or eyes. Unfortunately, many persons with this condition face discrimination, which should never happen. So, today is a reminder to be kind, and that inclusivity can only make us stronger. The news is next.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, June 13, 2023. Minister of Education and Youth Fable Williams has announced that closed-circuit television CCTV cameras will be installed at primary school entrances as a safety measure. This follows the abduction and attack on 8-year-old Danielle Rowe from the compound of the Brayton Primary and Infant School last week. She later succumbed to injuries received. Minister Williams says the installation of camera systems will help prevent a reoccurrence of such a crime, or at the very least, provide footage that will assist in the investigation of the offenders.
I know that traditionally we've not had safety cameras, CCTV, in our primary schools. Our primary schools are built in communities by design. Our children live, most of them, within walking distance of our primary schools. We've generally reserved CCTV or safety cameras for high schools, especially those in vulnerable areas. But this morning, having seen what has happened here at this very quiet primary and infant school, we have to begin to increase the safety and the security at our primary schools.
Minister Williams was speaking yesterday at a devotion held at the institution in remembrance of little Danielle. The Portmore Municipal Corporation has pledged to work with the Education Ministry to provide CCTV cameras to cover the Brayton Primary compound and other schools within the community.
We have started in some of the primary school already. So what we are going to do, we are going to now look at the ones that don't have the cameras. And we are going to make the recommendation or send the information to you so that we can work together to cover these primary schools that don't have the cameras.
Children and adolescents in St. Thomas can now access a wide range of social, educational, and health services in a safe space. On Friday, the Ministry of Health and Wellness opened its second teen hub inside the Morant Bay Bus Park. The first was established in the Halfway Tree Transport Center. The Morant Bay facility was built at a cost of $60 million. Is the result of the ministry's partnership with the European Union Spotlight Initiative and the United Nations Children Fund, UNICEF.
We are creating, as was said, a safe space where you, as young people, can come. You want a little help with your work, with homework? We give you a little help. You want to go on the internet, go find something positive? We have 19 stations there that can help you. You feel a little depressed, a little down, a little out, a little sad? We have somebody who is trained to sit down and talk to you and to help solve your problems.
The health minister also unveiled a wellness bench as a symbol of a safe space where children can sit, relax, and resolve stressful situations. The Teen Hub offers homework and research assistance, health screening and counseling, including mental health support, career guidance, and sexual and reproductive health services. Dr. Tufton says it's a necessary layer of support to bring back traditional community values of people providing positive parenting to children away from home. With the opening of a CT scan suite, the University Hospital of the West Indies will be able to provide care for more patients needing this service. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton opened the facility on Tuesday. He says this latest acquisition, which cost $128 million, represents the modernization of the hospital and government's commitment to quality patient care. Dr. Tufton indicates that there are plans for further advancement with a $30 million tower at the hospital.
We are well advanced, plans are in place, and it's not just a building, it's going to be a building that is equipped. So I do foresee over the next few years that at 128 slides, if there's a 130 or 40, we're going to see some of that in a new building that we're going to be constructing because we want to continue to be modern.
Minister of Education and Youth Fable Williams says the equipment will also help to improve training in radiology.
No doubt, with the acquisition of this equipment, there will be the opportunity to provide comprehensive on-site training in radiology for postgraduate medical doctors, medical students, radiographers, and other group of healthcare professionals, ensuring that they possess the necessary skills and knowledge to provide quality patient care.
The new addition increases the number of CT scans available at the institution to 2. Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Senator Aubin Hill, says his ministry is committed to a mandate of pushing Jamaica higher up the value chain of service delivery in business process outsourcing. JAMPRO is spearheading this initiative through the Global Digital Services Sector Project.
We are merely scratching the surface of Jamaica's full and future potential for the global digital services sector.
The industry minister was speaking at a recent function to open the new Sagility Business Process Outsourcing BPO facility in Angel, St. Catherine. He welcomed the new facility, saying it demonstrated the continued expansion and economic contribution of the global digital services sector in Jamaica.
I'm happy to see that the global digital services sector in Jamaica, which is in the business ministry, continues to expand rapidly. As just last week, I had the pleasure of participating in the site opening of another outsourcing company. This is one of our biggest exports, the skills of Jamaica.
Sagility currently employs more than 3,600 workers through its 4 centers in Kingston. This new facility will employ over 1,200 persons, generating significant income within the parish of St. Catherine. And finally, government will be providing support to establish a green financing model for the preservation of the Hope Botanical Gardens. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Senator Matthew Samuda, made the announcement recently. He was speaking at the Hope Gardens 150th Anniversary Public Forum on Urban Green Spaces. Hope Gardens is managed by the Nature Preservation Foundation, a non-governmental organization.
There are a number of blended finance options that we'll have to explore. And what I commit to the Preservation Foundation is that I'll make myself and my office available to you to design the appropriate mechanisms that allow us to raise international funds, to get the appropriate government allocations, and indeed to engage the private sector.
Senator Samuda says the ministry will also undertake several initiatives for the long-term preservation of the gardens with support from the Ministry of Agriculture.
I had a meeting with newly returned Minister of Agriculture, Floyd Green, in relation to allocation of resources for Hope Gardens. There are some things within the capacity of the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation by way of roadways, drainage, and some supporting infrastructure that will make things easier. We'll be looking at those through the supplementary estimates later in this year.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Next part I show them cut it. Talking about that, listen to this. They send a message. Disaster do happens. Be prepared. The municipal corporation reminds us of hurricane, earthquake, flooding, you name it, and preparedness.
Mommy, we really have to take this thing seriously.
Mommy, where's the emergency shelters?
Samir.
Primary school, churches, community centers. Know your nearest emergency shelter. Protect your family during any natural disaster. Be prepared. Visit the ODPEM website at odpem.org.jm to find the shelter listing for your parish. Know your emergency shelters.
The latest now on all that happened in the office of the Prime Minister this past week.
Committee to review job description and code of conduct for political directorates. Eminent Persons Group facilitates meeting with Haitian stakeholders, and Caribbean benefits from multilateral cooperation with the United States. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Marjorie Gordon.
We will name the committee and begin the full review of both the job descriptions and the code of conduct.
That was Prime Minister Andrew Holness in Parliament last week announcing the soon-to-be-established Joint Select Committee to review the job description and code of conduct for ministers and members of Parliament.
We hope that within short order we can establish a process where these job descriptions can be finalized and made public and become the template, the framework against which the execution of our duties can be judged by the public. And the committee will also be tasked to articulate an accountability framework and to finalize for ourselves the code of conduct. It is important, Madam Speaker, that the Parliament establishes its own integrity.
Still in Parliament, Prime Minister Holness has reiterated Jamaica's commitment to help address the unstable situation in Haiti, particularly as it relates to security in the country.
There is an urgent need to restore the rule of law and effective governance to address humanitarian and human rights concerns.
According to the Prime Minister, CARICOM has agreed on recommendations following the special mission to Haiti, which he led on February 27 this year. They include the establishment of an eminent persons group to take the process forward.
That group is comprised of former Prime Minister of Jamaica, Mr. Bruce Golding, the Honorable Kenny Anthony, former Prime Minister of St. Lucia, and the Right Honorable Perry Christie, former Prime Minister of the Bahamas. The Eminent Persons Group, along with a small team comprising the technical expertise in mediation, security, and political research, supported by the CARICOM Secretariat, has been tasked to facilitate consultations with Haitian stakeholders.
Haitian stakeholders were in Jamaica from June 11 to 13 to agree on strategies in support of finding peace and stability in their country.
We recognize the importance of making every effort to find solutions. We're convinced that with the right spirit and opportunities to facilitate inclusive participation in a neutral environment, there can be movement in building on the groundwork already laid to advance consensus.
J'espère qu'il y en aura d'autres qui nous permettront de franchir ensemble les étapes vers le nouveau
and go through all of the stages necessary to rebuild our country.
Prime Minister Holness says the government also stands ready to assist Haiti in dealing with the impact of a 4.9 magnitude earthquake on June 6.
Jamaica has indicated its interest in providing tangible support to Haiti, including to the Haitian National Police.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness represented Jamaica last week at the U.S. Caribbean Leaders Meeting in the Bahamas. It resulted in Jamaica and other Caribbean countries being on track to benefit from a new $35 million commitment from the United States government. This is to support clean energy and disaster response in the region. $20 million will go towards the Caribbean Climate Investment Program. It's to incentivize private sector partnership across the region to develop more clean energy technologies and energy storage systems. The remaining $50 million investment is to support emergency response efforts and strengthen the capacity of the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, SEDEMA. The investment flows from a previous meeting on the Partnership to Address Climate Crisis, PAC 2030. Partnership to stem the flow of illegal transshipment of firearms was also strengthened at the U.S. Caribbean meeting. A new post will be created by the United States Department of Justice to appoint a coordinator for Caribbean firearms prosecution. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris says this cooperation will help to maximize the sharing of firearms information between countries to support the prosecution of traffickers.
This effort will be aided by the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, which President Biden signed last year, and includes new federal criminal offenses for firearms trafficking and straw purchases.
Back home, Prime Minister Holness has charged the police commissioner with using the full force of the law to bring those responsible for the brutal murder of 8-year-old Daniel Rowe to justice.
The society cannot surrender to wanton violence, and we must be unequivocal when violence is directed against our children. Our indignation and intolerance of fatal violence must be expressed in the highest penalties as a deterrent and the stiffest punishment if the criminal was not deterred.
Mr. Holness also expressed condolence at the passing of former mayor of Morant Bay and councillor of the Seaforth Division of the St. Thomas Municipal Corporation, Councillor Joan Spencer. And he congratulated the men's hockey team on their win over the weekend, which qualifies them for the 2024 World Cup in Muscat, Oman. And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for more of the news stories coming out of the Office of the Prime Minister.
Are you aware of how Jamaican adolescents use social media? What do they do online? What do they post? Do you know if they are being harassed? These are questions you should be asking yourself because it is your duty to keep your children safe online. Parents, here's what you need to do. Be active online and offline. Help your child to set up his or her online profile. Make sure you familiarize yourself with the different social media applications that they use and set some rules. Protect our nation's children and save them from cybercriminal attacks.
Looking for ways to keep the little ones active while still allowing them to have fun during their summer break? Here are some ways of preventing that summer slide.
Wow, what a school year that was. The pickups, the drop-offs, the exams, the classes. Oh, I'm so glad for the break. Thank you, summer. But wait, all play and no work is just as bad as all work and no play.
Studies suggest that mathematics and reading suffer significantly during the long summer months when students are away from the classroom. We don't want our children to suffer from summer learning loss. We want to help them maintain their academic development and possibly learn new skills over the summer break. Here are some workable ways to prevent the summer slide. Summer school and camps are sure ways of keeping your child active during the break from school. Not only are they educational and recreational, they may also help grow your child's interest in a particular area. As parents, we should take the time to read, write, and spell with our children. That way, their minds are constantly engaged. For older children, have them write reports on the interesting books they've read. And with that, your children will be ahead of the class when they're asked to write an essay about their summer holiday. What's more, all the parish libraries have a summer program that your children can be part of. In addition to reading sessions, the library offers embroidery, art and craft, performing arts, games, tablet tutorials, and computer training. Math is all around us, so there's no reason for the learning to stop when classes end. On the road, you and your child can take turns making up math problems and answering them. At home, cooking and baking can help with measurement and fractions. You can create summer jobs for your child with house chores that you pay for in cash or kind. Children can also take up gardening. Items on the grocery list can be added, subtracted, and multiplied. Games are also a good source of incorporating math into your child's routine during the summer months. You could try football, cricket, hopscotch, card games, and dominoes. And not only do games keep our children's brains sharp, being physically active reduces their risk of becoming obese. Jamaica is awash with parks, museums, zoos, and other cultural locations. They can help your child with civics, history, and integrated studies. There are also cultural events taking place during the summer months, including emancipation and independence celebrations. Aside from learning about our culture, the most important benefit from these excursions is spending quality time with our loved ones. For children going to a new school or a new grade, introduce them to their new books. Have them read stories and practice math problems. Parents can also make flashcards with their children and by so doing, revise all that they've learned over the weeks. Children may explore their creative side by making a movie on a smartphone or tablet. There are also tons of free educational websites that can help children stay on top of their learning throughout the summer.
When I try these, my children will definitely be ahead of the curve.
Jamaica, this is Kevin Downswell. We original. We were blessed. We have something about us that the world craves. We don't need to compromise. We don't need to rob. We don't need to thief nobody. Everybody who watch this have something unique in them that God placed in you. That was used to bring you favor, was used to bring you wealth. Find it. It's inside of you. Whether they're on the street side, something special inside of you. Whether they're at the bar or drink rum and you try to drink away your troubles, listen to me. And I'll say go. If you find that thing is what is the very thing that will bring you wealth, the very thing that will bring your life to a level you never imagined. Everybody out there have a choice. And my challenge to you is choose to do the right thing. Choose to not bust that gun. Choose to not smoke that weed. Choose the right thing. Your decision will create a habit, and your habit will create a future. That means if your decision is wrong every day, your future will end up being popped down. But if you decide that you're not going to do that, and you're going to stand up for the right, watch it, your future big. You're blessed. Jamaica, you're blessed. Youth, you're blessed. Girl, you're blessed. Love.
Synchronized swimming, or water ballet if you will, is another fun activity to get your child into this summer. Who knows, they'll probably like it so much they may want to pursue it further. Let's learn more.
I didn't start it here in Jamaica. It was started before me. I think when I came here, it was two clubs. I would say two clubs in Kingston. So I started it here in Port Antonio. 10 years ago, it wasn't a team. It was one swimmer only for a couple of years, and then kids started joining more and more. Started joining, and here's a team.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I love synchronized swimming because of the pretty swimsuits. I wanted to show off myself to other countries.
The reason why I'm doing synchronized swimming is because when I was younger, there's not really a lot of sports that was there, and I also love water.
Synchronized swimming is a very unique sport. It's different from everything else, and I like to stand out.
It's a tough experience, it's challenging,
in many cases. I like the fact that we get to go out a lot. We get to get exposed to different things, different cultures and stuff.
We really don't select the girls. We take everybody who comes and we give them a chance, and then we'll see who stays. Synchronized swimming is not the sport that you can do twice a week for 1 hour. It's a very complicated sport that you have to do as speed swimming. You have to be very good at speed swimming. You have to be very good at gymnastics. You have to do a ballet class sometimes, and of course synchronized swimming actually on land and in a pool. Up there, don't turn, and then you walk out. So the girl is practicing 4 times a week, sometimes 5, and depending on the school schedule, of course.
The level of dedication is about, saying 1 to 10, it is about 8. Because it's not a lot of sports there's around that I can do. So doing synchro now, it takes a lot of time to think about the things that you're going to do. Have about a duet and a solo. When it comes on to shows, it has about 12 different routines. It's very hard to balance school and training because most of the times training finishes late-ish at night. So I will have to get home and sometimes study. And so I go to bed late, and it's kind of hard to wake up in the mornings.
This leg is great. This one is synchronized swimming help you with development. It develops you physically and mentally too. I think the best advantage that they get being a swimmers is that they get in confidence. Knowing that you achieved something and you did something that many people cannot do. It gives you confidence and self-respect, and this is what the girls really need.
In the last few years, I've grown to the sports because when I was younger, I had my coach repeatedly saying, "Shall we work? Shall we work? Shall we work?" And I think before I reached about 16 or 15, I think I got better at that because knowing that I'm the oldest in the group, I have to show example.
Usually here I'm making our routines and trying to make sure it fits the personality of the swimmer first and the skill level.
I do a lot of mixing up of routines, especially when it comes to like duets and teams, sometimes solo. It's all I want to do. It's my life. Competing at the Olympics will make more Jamaicans know that synchronized swimming is actually in Jamaica.
We've come to the end of another magazine program. Should you want a recap of today's show or any other program, please visit our website at www.jis.gov.jm. Until next time, I'm Theodore Henry. Please take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.